Have you ever thought that perhaps it's not rapid consumer price inflation for all consumer goods and services that's exerting massive pressure on households, squeezing their income available to spend on housing, and so in doing challenging aspirant first-time buyers' ability to get into the home ownership market? That perhaps it's something else. Perhaps in part it's price competitiveness of consumer goods and services that's attracting more demand for more competitively priced products than houses. Let's think about that. The following graph, 3 indices. The first one, the red one, the average house price to income ratio index. The base year for all 3 indices is 1990, where the index starts at 100. This house price to income ratio index has radically deteriorated, in other words, risen from 100 back in 1990 to 137.9 by the end of 2025. Sharp deterioration in the price to income affordability of housing. But of course, for many credit-dependent buyers, it's not about the price alone, it's about the cost of credit. And fortunately for them, since the 1990s, interest rates have dropped quite radically. At one stage of the 1990s, prime rate was above 20%. So this has helped. And if we look at the blue graph, we see that this is the installment value on the average priced house, a 100% loan at prime rate at the time, a simple calculation, as a ratio of per capita disposable income. This affordability has cumulatively improved via a few cycles along the way, but from 100 in early 1990 to 76.8 by the end of 2025. So a big affordability improvement when you're using credit to buy a home since the 1990s. But how have consumer goods kept up with this affordability improvement? Actually very well. The green graph shows that consumer goods and services prices relative to household per capita income in an index form. This index has dropped from 100 in early 1990, even more than the installment to income ratio on housing, to 72.7. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that since the 1990s, consumer goods and services inflation rates haven't exceeded income growth according to the long-term data. To the contrary, it seems as though their affordability has improved relative to income. In other words, they've inflated at a slower pace than income overall, per capita income. Affordability has improved, and price competitiveness-wise, since the 1990s, relative to housing, they've pretty much kept up in terms of price competitiveness. So it's not massive inflation in consumer goods and services that's putting pressure on income and disposable income available for housing spend. It's something different. I think it's the proliferation of things to buy. We're going to talk about that in the next episode.